But I didn't realize until I looked down on this paper and I saw the numbers and I was like, holy moly, a lot more than I anticipated. Welcome to this week's video where we're gonna talk about how we made $500,000 on our first flip, but first we're gonna celebrate. We have a nice Grand Reserva, age 21 year whiskey. So what we're gonna do today is I'm gonna pour a glass from me and a glass from him, and we're gonna go over these numbers and figure out where we spent too much money, where we didn't spend enough money, and how much money we actually made. Because I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it wasn't $500,000. Smells good. Oh yeah. Nothing better than a nice bottle of whiskey on an empty stomach. So I'm not gonna keep teasing you guys along. I'm gonna go straight into the big numbers. I'm gonna give you guys the meat of it, and then we'll break it down into details. We'll go over how much we spent where, what cost us way too much money that we can save on in the future, and how much money we actually made. So we bought this property for $625,000. We ended up spending about $620,000 in construction. And then on top of that, there was another $260 some odd thousand in additional expenses. Those are commissions, county fees, taxes, permit fees, architectural, a bunch of stuff. I know it's a crazy number, how do you get there? But that's where we got. That made our break-even point $1.5 million. And selling as the most expensive home in North Hollywood for $1.91 million, we ended up netting $400,000. Cue the sad violin. We're $100,000 shy, and honestly, until last night when I sat down and did all the numbers, I was completely confused because I was pretty sure that we made $500,000 on this first property, but we're a little bit shy. When we negotiated this deal, we knew we were gonna get a hard money loan, and they ended up asking us for 25% down because we had no experience. It was our first deal, and frankly, at the time, comps were barely supporting $1.2 million on the exit. Nobody had the expectations that Sam and Eddie would walk in from nowhere and set a record in North Hollywood. Obviously, I knew and Eddie knew, but you know, you have to have realistic expectations, especially when you're lending someone over $1 million. We ended up having the owner of the property give us a $100,000 carryback at 0% APR. Our hard money ended up being about 2 points at 8.5%. We later had to refinance, which I'll get more into later. And that was our purchase of the property. I'm gonna jump into the construction cost. $619,507.19. That's our total cost of construction. We did 2,929 square feet. That was 2,530 square feet of living space and a 380 square foot garage. That brought our price per square foot to $211. For all those people that are interested in cost per square foot, that's where we ended up being. If we went with more higher end materials and more higher end finishes on our next project, I think we could come in at the same price point. So I would recommend that when you guys are looking at your projects, you calculate anywhere from $200 to $250 a square foot, depending on how high end you're going. We also bought all of our materials at the peak of every single market, so we were very unlucky in that circumstance. Aside from this, we had $15,388.25 in escrow and title charges. Now this is broken up into 3 stages. Our first stage being when we purchased the property, which was $6,299.19. From that point, we ended up having to refinance the house, which ended up costing us $2,458.64. And then closing time when you sell the house. We had another set of escrow and title fees, which ended up being $6,630.42. That all adds up to our total, bringing us to about $15,400 in escrow fees. So as you guys see, everything's quickly adding up. We're getting closer and closer to that $1.5 million point. We spent $12,537 in permit fees. We had about $12,404 in professional fees. Now this includes the architect, the structural engineer, the survey, and a bunch of other things that, to be frank with you, I haven't really broken down. So the purchase price and the remodel is the bulk of the expense. The second bulk of the expense that we had was our interest fees, and I don't even want to get into these. $124,409.47 to be exact, is how much we spent on interest and financing for this entire project. That's the biggest expense. That's actually an area that we could have saved a lot of money in if we had proper planning going into this project, and also if we had the knowledge that we have now. So pro tip to you guys, make sure you get an extended loan, especially if you're doing new construction or ground up like we did. You don't want a 12-month term. You want to make sure that you get 18 to 24. 24 is safe, 18 is doable. Realistically speaking, we could finish the project like this, even if it was a bigger house, 3,500 square feet, 4,500 square feet, within 12 months, including permit times. But 12 to 13 months is the cutoff, and then you need another month for escrow, sale, whatever. You end up around 15 months. You wanna make sure you take that into account when you're getting your hard money loan so they don't take advantage of you on the refinance. Now, our lenders didn't necessarily take advantage of us, but it does end up costing you a lot more money in the long run. So make sure you pre-negotiate that ahead of time. One of the other spend categories that was very shocking to me was utilities, insurance, and taxes. We had segmented all of these off into their own group. I actually anticipated this to be somewhere around like $10,000. California, Los Angeles property taxes are extremely high, but we ended up landing at $21,460.12. So about 12,000 of that was property taxes, 12 to 13,000. Everything else is utilities, insurance. Insurance was very, very expensive. I actually realized last night that I have to call the insurance company and get a refund on the prorated amount that we did not use because we sold the house, and escrow, I guess, didn't contact them to cancel. I guess it's my job. So I think we have a couple $1,000s coming back from there, which is not accounted for in this $21,000. Transfer taxes. This is another thing that's completely unavoidable, and as a norm, it is paid by the seller of the property. Transfer taxes are really high in the state of California or city of Los Angeles. We paid $10,767 in transfer taxes. This is based on the selling price of the house. Again, what we're gonna end up doing for our future projects is figure out what portion of the sales price these numbers are. So that way, when we run our numbers, we have a more accurate understanding of where we'll actually end up and what everything will cost us, so we don't end up spending way more money, going over budget, and losing a lot of money. Real estate commissions. Now, you can be at Redfin for 1%, you can be at your high-end brokers for 6%. Where should you land and where did we land? This question is very in-depth and there's a lot of factors that go into it. And just because we ended up getting the rate that we did does not mean that anybody else can run around and get that rate. There's a lot of factors that go into that. The relationship you build, the future of the relationship you build, the circumstances of the sale, the price of the home, who ends up buying your home. All of these things need to be taken into account. Unfortunately, we got lucky in most of these areas, including the buyer being someone that was represented by the Chernov team, which ended us at a $76,400 commission, which was at 4%, which is fairly reasonable for both investors and developers and in the LA market. So we're kind of happy with that, but again, I always look down at that paper and I'm like, $76,000, that's a lot of money. But it's something that's an industry standard and you gotta pay to play. There was also a lot of add value from the Chernov team for us with the social media push, with the pushing of the house, with the open houses, with the party. They did a lot for us and they helped us accomplish a lot that we're really, really happy with. I do look at that number and I do say it's a big number, but I think it's all warranted based on the work they did and what they've provided to us in value as an exchange. That entirety, all these numbers that I discussed, so that's $1,507,106.44. That is our total break-even cost on this house. The commission was taken into account on our sales price of $1.91 million, leaving us a total net of $402,893.56. That is our net profit for this project. There's 3 different main pain points that could have saved us a lot of money. I think you guys already know, and if you think you know, leave it down in the comments below. Interest, loan origination, all those fees. We ended up spending a total of $124,000. That's including origination fees, that's including the refinance points. It's a lot. Now, of that amount, $22,000 was just in loan origination fees. We paid about $16,600 in the beginning for the purchase. Now, the refinance is definitely something that we could have completely removed some of the circumstances and saved us $6,000. But also on the loan origination, what we realized, we went through one broker that referred us to another broker that ended up getting us the loan through the original bank. That cost us 2 additional broker fees, which would have amounted to about $7,000 to $8,000 in savings. Now that we have built a relationship with a lending company and we've come into contact with multiple lenders and we have experience in the field and we've set a record, we have a better opportunity to get these loans without paying those exorbitant 2-3 points origination fees. The other problem we had was with our carrying costs. Now, as you guys know, this project ended up taking us about 20 months from purchase date to close up escrow when we sold. And at $124,000, doing all the math, it comes out to about $5,670.51 per month on average in carrying costs. Now, obviously your carrying costs increase towards the ends of your project because you have more money borrowed against your construction costs. But if you average it out, just looking at it bluntly, I think we could have saved about 8 months in time if we knew then what we know now, and if we had the experience then that we have now. So just in loan origination and carrying costs, we could have saved close to $60,000 on this project. What this piece of paper has taught me, you think that your carrying costs on insurance per diem is the highest cost. It's definitely not. Everything else all together adds up. Saving a day here or there saves you $500 to $1,000 a day on a project like this with hard money where you're doing ground up construction. We would have also hit the market at a better time. We would have timed it better. A lot of factors would have been changed. I definitely recommend, if you're looking to build your own home or do an investment, focus on getting the right people in there. Even if it costs a little bit extra, all the time and headache that it saves you is 100% worth it in the long run. Escrow and title. Now this is a small savings because unfortunately the only place we could have probably saved on escrow and title is during the refinance. If we didn't have to do a refinance, we wouldn't have to pay additional escrow and title charges. A pro tip I'll give you guys here when you're purchasing a property, to make sure you get a binder for your title insurance. That means that when it comes time to sell your property, that title insurance will kind of sort of carry over and give you a reduced cost on your actual title insurance. I think the binder was like a couple $100 and it saved us a couple $1,000s on the back end. So hypothetically speaking, if we had saved in all of those areas, it would have given us an extra $73,000. Pay extra for the better subs, plan everything ahead, make sure everything is sorted out before you get into it so you don't have to deal with these delays and headaches. But if you make time management a key point of focus for you and try to reduce the amount of carrying time that you have on a property, you will definitely save a lot of money. A majority of these expenses are because of the added time. With that all being said, that wraps it all up. We made $403,000 on our first flip. I'm very happy about it. Eddie's happy about it. More money is always better. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you're not already, make sure to subscribe to our channel. We upload videos regularly. Make sure to that thumbs up button, hit that notification bell. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. I'm more than happy to answer your questions. And thank you for dealing with a Buzz Sam talking about finance.